Lewis, a criminal defense attorney. How would you defend Nick Ree? The obvious play is going to be not guilty by reason of insanity. It's not easy to prove, though. To the public, Rob Reiner and Michele Singer's 36-year marriage looked untouchable. The kind of love people point to and say, that's the real thing. Every red carpet photo, every smiling interview, every polished appearance sold the same story. Solid, calm, unbreakable. But perfect images can lie. And sometimes silence isn't peace at all. Sometimes it's pressure building quietly for years. Behind that flawless image, something heavy was always simmering. Long before the cameras stopped rolling, their home was filled with tension, sleepless nights, and constant worry about their son Nick's struggles. The argument stayed private. The fear stayed hidden, and the marriage bent under a weight no one could see. Love didn't disappear, but it was tested hard again and again. Rob later admitted they didn't stay together because life was easy. They stayed because walking away would have shattered the only family they had left. Their children became the reason they kept going, even when exhaustion drained them both. Love turned into endurance, and endurance became survival. When CBS filmed Rob Reiner's final interview, something felt different immediately. Gone was the confident Hollywood figure. What remained was a man worn thin by years of quiet strain. Deep lines etched his face, his energy subdued, his presence heavy. Under those studio lights, it wasn't fame you saw. It was fatigue. His voice carried the weight of everything he had held in for decades. The crew didn't realize it at the time, but they were witnessing what would become his final confession. Rob made it clear right away. He wasn't there to promote anything. He wasn't there to celebrate a legacy. I'm here because it's time to tell the truth, he said quietly, especially about his family. He spoke about their famous home, the one magazines love to show as a symbol of success. Behind those bright walls, he said, lived years of silence so heavy it became unbearable. There were stretches where words stopped completely, where love didn't disappear but went quiet, where presence slowly turned into absence. Rob admitted he lost himself chasing perfection, directing, writing, working nonstop while Michele drifted further into her own world. Piece by piece, distance replaced closeness. I thought silence meant peace, he said. Later, I realized silence can also mean abandonment. That line hit the room hard. No one moved. No one spoke. You have to prove that his son did not know the difference between right and wrong during the commission of the crime. And that takes experts, forensics. You look at all the data, social media, emails, and text messaging, and so forth to see if in fact the person did not know the difference between right and wrong. Rob then looked back to the moment everything began. Meeting Michele Singer on the set of When Harry Met Sally changed his life. At the time, the movie's original ending was bleak, mirroring his own heartbreak after his divorce from Penny Marshall. But then Michele walked onto that set, visiting her friend Barry Sonnenfeld, and something shifted instantly. Rob recalled Barry joking, "You're not going to marry Michelle Pfeiffer. You're going to marry my friend Michele Singer." And he was right. Rob said before Michele, he felt incomplete. Successful, yes, but hollow. When I met Michele, he admitted, I finally understood what real love feels like. That feeling reshaped the movie itself. Rob rewrote the ending, turning heartbreak into hope, reuniting Harry and Sally on New Year's Eve. Just months later, Rob and Michele married in Hawaii in a tiny, spontaneous ceremony with only 2 strangers as witnesses. We weren't just married, Rob said proudly. We were partners. She grounded him, centered him, made him feel whole. But what no one saw was that even during their happiest moments, tiny cracks were already forming beneath the surface. Rob laughed softly when talking about parenting their 3 kids. He was the soft one, the spoiler. Michele was the organizer, the structure, the balance. That contrast kept the household steady for years, even when life outside the home grew chaotic. Michele wasn't just his wife, she was his anchor. Without Michele, Rob admitted, I don't know who I would have become. And when the conversation turned to fatherhood, his voice dropped even lower. For all his Hollywood success, nothing compared to holding his children for the first time. It's not often prevailed upon, and even when it is successful, the person doesn't just walk away. They end up being in a state hospital for most of the duration of their life. LAPD Chief McDonald said that they're not sure if the murders were conducted on Saturday night or Sunday, saying that timing could impact how the case is prosecuted. Why does that timing matter in prosecuting the case? He described making a silent promise to always be their safe place no matter what storms came. His love wasn't loud or flashy. It was deep, steady, and constant. But even that balance couldn't last forever. Slowly, quietly, the pressure built. The silence grew heavier, and the family that once looked so unbreakable began to crack under the weight of everything left unsaid. The moment everything truly started slipping was when their son, Nick, began to change. Once the brightest light in the house, something shifted and Rob remembered it instantly. Coming home late, that faint smell in the air, eyes that no longer met his. I saw it, Rob admitted quietly, but I told myself it was just mood swings. Denial felt easier than panic. Then came the money requests. Small at first, movie cash, hanging out with friends. Nothing alarming until the asks grew bigger, closer together, and eventually came with no explanations at all. Behind closed doors, Rob and Michele whispered late at night, arguing softly so Nick wouldn't hear. Maybe we should stop helping, Michele urged. One night, Rob couldn't do it. He's our son, he insisted. He needs us. And without realizing it, love slowly blurred into enabling. Their home, once full of laughter, started feeling tense, unpredictable, unsafe. Rob recalled nights when Nick would bang on their door, shouting in a voice that didn't sound like his anymore. One night, Nick shoved Rob against the wall while Michele stood frozen, unable to move. I didn't see my child, Rob said, his voice breaking. I saw a stranger wearing my son's face. The words hung heavy in the air. When asked why he never called authorities, Rob lowered his head. Because I'm a father, he whispered. He was terrified that one call would destroy Nick's future forever. That the media would twist everything. That the label would stick. But beneath that fear lived a harsher truth Rob struggled to face. Love alone, no matter how fierce, isn't always enough to save someone you'd give everything for. I think it goes to the extent of deliberation and calculation by the defendant. The later in time that this a murder occurred from when the initial fight was, the more deliberate and calculated the actual act was, which would then back up the special circumstances murder, which requires premeditation and planning. There were nights when everything collapsed behind closed doors. Nick would lash out, storm away, and leave chaos behind. The silence afterward felt louder than the shouting. Rob said the hardest part wasn't the damage. It was opening the door again, hoping again, believing again that this time would be different when Nick came back asking for money. I knew I was being used, Rob admitted softly. But if I refused, I'd lose him completely. He called it betrayal in slow motion. Our son betrayed us, Rob said. But we betrayed ourselves too because we didn't have the strength to say stop. Fear replaced boundaries. Denial replaced action. And silence became its own kind of prison. Rob never stopped loving Nick even when he scared him. I still saw the little boy who needed me. He confessed. That love became both comfort and curse. A guiding light and a chain holding him in place. The more they tried to protect their child, the more the family began to fracture. Rob and Michele slowly drifted apart under the weight of it all. Late nights turned into quiet stares. Conversations just kept going in circles, man. No big explosion, no one single breaking point. Just years of straight-up exhaustion grinding them down. Love, which used to be their biggest strength, turned into the thing that hurt them the deepest. What stung the most wasn't people judging them out loud, Rob said real quiet. It was the whole illusion. Folks saw the pics, the smiles, the parties, and thought that shit was real. But behind closed doors, peace wasn't even living there. Every fight circled back to the same damn spot, the kids. Not out of hate, but out of love coming out in two totally different ways. Michele wanted structure, boundaries, control. Rob just wanted to hold on tight. Michele wanted Nick to face reality. Rob just wanted his kids close, no matter what it cost. We can't keep living like this anymore, Michele said one night. Rob stayed dead quiet, frozen, scared that one wrong word would push her even farther away. Their fights weren't loud blow-ups. They were these whispered confessions at midnight, standing in the kitchen, both of them wiped out. One night Michele just asked him straight up, "Are you protecting our kid, or are you protecting your idea of being a good dad?" Rob's answer came out barely above a whisper. "If I let go, I lose him." That one sentence changed everything, drew a line between them that never really closed. Shit escalated after one awful night, When Nick got into serious trouble, Michele was shaking. Anger, heartbreak, all of it. And she grabbed the phone and said, "I'm calling the cops." Rob stepped right in front of her. "Don't. Please. He's our son." His voice cracked. Michele just broke down, not from fear, but from being so damn tired. "You're choosing him," she said, "and leaving me behind." The room went dead silent. Rob couldn't even deny it. "I love you," he whispered, "but I love our kid too. I don't know how to keep from losing you both." That night almost ended it all. Divorce got said out loud. Suitcases came out, then got shoved back in the closet. Rob said it was the first time he really believed their family might not make it. Not cause the love was gone, but cause it was yanking them in opposite directions. "We didn't fight over fame or money," Rob admitted. "We fought over the kids we loved more than anything." Michele wanted accountability. Rob wanted protection. "I couldn't bear to see my son in handcuffs," he confessed. Michele's reply cut deep. "And I can't live in fear anymore." Both of them were right, and that's what made it unbearable. Rob picked silence over confrontation, hoping it'd keep the family together. "Maybe," he said real quiet. "I was just stretching the pain out instead of stopping it." Those arguments didn't wreck them overnight. They wore them down slow, drop by drop, like pressure you don't notice till it's way too late. To the outside world, they still looked perfect. Rob said people bought the pictures, the smiles, the polished image, but the truth was way messier. "Happiness doesn't mean there are no cracks," he said softly. "It means seeing them and still trying to stay." Then he paused, voice almost gone. "But everything has a price. And I don't know if we paid it the right way." And it wasn't just Nick. Their other kids, Jake and Roy, had their own quieter struggles nobody ever talked about. When Rob spoke about them, the sadness was steady, controlled, heavy. Jake grew up with comfort. Maybe too much of it. "He's smart," Rob admitted, "but not driven. Every time I thought he'd step up, there was always another excuse." The weight of that never left him. "Not ready, not the right time, the world's too hard." Rob admitted he always gave in. Every excuse sounded reasonable right then. "I kept saying he'd grow up," Rob said quietly. "Eventually." But eventually never came. Roy was different. Ambitious, loud, used to getting her way. What started as small requests turned into constant financial dependence. At first it was simple stuff. Then rent. Then temporary loans that never got paid back. Michele didn't always argue. Her eyes said enough. Something was slipping away. Their Brentwood home, once a sanctuary, became a symbol of everything complicated about love and family. When Roy said she didn't feel safe living far away, Rob folded instantly. She didn't ask, she demanded a house next door. Private, elegant, comfortable. Michele was furious. Are we helping her or hurting her? Rob had no answer, only guilt. In the end, he gave in again. "I couldn't stand the thought of my daughter being unhappy," he admitted. Jake stayed too, trapped in the same cycle. The house got quieter, softer, more comfortable, and somehow emptier. "We'd sit at dinner and no one would talk," Rob said. "I'd look at my kids and wonder, do they even want their own lives?" But what broke him wasn't the dependence. It was the sadness in Michele's eyes. She never shouted. She whispered once, "We're running out." Rob never asked what she meant, money or faith. He already knew. He admitted he chose giving over guiding, pleasing over parenting. "I was so afraid of losing my children," Rob said. "But in the end, I lost myself." Every demand chipped away at him, and still he couldn't stop. When the interviewer asked if he regretted it, Rob went silent. Then he nodded. "I regret thinking I had time." He said, "Families don't fall apart from one big moment. They fall apart from thousands of small ones we let slide." Then for the first time he looked straight into the camera. Eyes heavy but clear. Voice dropped like he was talking right to Michele. "If you're watching," he said softly, "I understand now. I just understood too late." The studio went completely silent. No crew moving, no chairs shifting, nothing. That silence said more than any music ever could. When the interview ended, nobody realized it would be Rob Reiner's final appearance on screen. Later CBS re-aired the full thing as a memorial special. No edits, no dramatic narration, just Rob under cold lights, honest and worn. Near the end, a behind-the-scenes clip played. Rob turned to the interviewer and asked quietly, "Do you think my family will be happy?" The guy hesitated, then said, "Happiness will come." Rob nodded slow, closing his eyes like he was finally setting something down. When that broadcast aired, people weren't watching out of curiosity. They were stunned. Rob and Michele had always been seen as Hollywood's model couple. Smart, loving, grounded. Seeing the truth behind the smiles shocked millions. A lot of folks said they couldn't finish it in one sitting. It wasn't dramatic. It was real. Rob didn't sound famous. He sounded like a dad fighting himself. And that's what made it haunting. Sometimes tragedy doesn't come from the outside. Sometimes it grows quiet inside the homes we trust the most. The media called it a final confession. To others it felt like a quiet cry for help that came way too late. And then came the 14th. Just 1 month after that interview. Everything collapsed. The news hit like an electric shock. The same family everybody thought had finally found some calm was suddenly gone from the world as we knew it. Rob and Michele were found inside their own home, and the shock ripped across the country instantly. But what stunned people even more was what came next. Their son Nick, the kid Rob spent his whole life trying to shield, was identified as the one responsible. Every fear Rob carried quiet, every outcome he tried to stop, hit all at once in the most brutal way possible. The silence he chose out of love became the exact thing that destroyed everything. His words from the interview echoed everywhere. "I was afraid of losing my child." When CBS replayed that footage, people couldn't look away. Every sentence sounded like a goodbye now, like a man leaving a warning he didn't know was final. If there were still time, he had said, and everybody watching felt it hit. The time had been there. Nobody faced it. The public image shattered in a second. That once perfect family photo stopped being inspiring. It became haunting. People started asking how many homes looked just like that, smiling for the world while quietly falling apart behind closed doors. The scariest part wasn't the ending itself. It was the years leading up to it. Years where love, fear, and denial got so twisted together nothing could be pulled apart anymore. Rob's love for his son was unconditional. Completely unconditional. It blinded him, trapped him, and in the end wiped out everything he was trying to protect. The story became more than a headline. It became a warning about what happens when love has no limits and silence takes the place of doing something. But man, to really get how heavy all this shit is, you gotta look at Michele, the woman right in the middle of that family. Michele Singer Reiner wasn't just some Hollywood wife tagging along. She was a legit respected photographer, producer, and activist with her own badass story. Born in New York City, she grew up in this warm Jewish home built on straight-up survival, resilience, and starting over from scratch. Her mom went through absolute hell during World War II and rebuilt everything from nothing. That kind of strength? It straight-up shaped who Michele became. She figured out early that staying quiet can be dangerous as fuck, and that truth actually matters. She carried that fire straight into her work. Fluent in French and Spanish, she studied photography at the School of Visual Arts in New York, where creativity turned into her real language. Those early years were quiet, grinding, hauling equipment, tweaking lights, watching other people take the credit. But that's exactly where she learned how to truly see people. Her camera became her voice, no cap. By the mid-1980s, her freelance gigs started popping off, and major magazines noticed. She got known for capturing not just pretty shit, but real honesty, faces with zero masks. She even shot the cover of The Art of the Deal, a gig she'd straight up say later she regretted, but it locked in her rep anyway. Then fate pulled up in 1989. She was visiting her friend Barry Sonnenfeld on the set of When Harry Met Sally, and boom, she crosses paths with director Rob Reiner. Rob's newly single, spots her across the set, and can't look away. Barry cracks, "You're not gonna marry Michelle Pfeiffer." And the rest of that line changed both their lives forever. "You're gonna marry my friend Michele Singer." And holy shit, he was dead right. Their vibe moved fast as hell. Within months, Rob and Michele were married in Hawaii. Quiet little ceremony. Just two random strangers as witnesses. One old lady even clocked Rob that day and told the princess bride she looked great. Simple, spontaneous moment that nailed exactly what their bond was about. Michele didn't just step into Rob's life. She flipped the whole damn direction. Her energy even reshaped his work. When Harry Met Sally was originally written with this bleak-ass ending, but after falling for Michele, Rob rewrote it so Harry and Sally end up finding each other again. Hope kicked heartbreak's ass, same way it did in his real life. For the next 36 years, Rob and Michele were one of Hollywood's most solid, admired couples. Not just husband and wife, collaborators, real partners, allies with the same mission. They raised 3 kids together, Jake in 91, Nick in 93, and Roy in 97. Behind closed doors, Michele was the steady one, keeping Rob grounded and fired up. Rob always said she was the engine behind every damn thing they built, and her own career backed that up 100%. She co-founded Reiner Light, later co-chaired Castle Rock Entertainment, produced stuff like Shock and Awe, Albert Brooks, Defending My Life, Rachel, and God and Country. She was still working on Spinal Tap 2, slated for 2025. In 2020, she and Rob inked a big deal with Warner Brothers Television, locking in their spot as intentional storytellers. But Michele wasn't just a creative beast. When it came to justice, she was relentless. Co-founded the American Foundation for Equal Rights, helped smash Proposition 8, pushed marriage equality nationwide. She fought hard for early childhood education, backed school funding initiatives, worked tight with the Innocence Project to fix wrongful convictions anywhere she saw bullshit injustice. Michele showed up fully every single time. Rob said it with straight pride. Michele is the force behind everything we do. Called her his true north, the one who reminded him what actually mattered when the noise got too loud. When I met her, Rob said, I finally understood what real love feels like. Michele hit back years later. It just felt right. We fell in love instantly. Friends called her brilliant, compassionate, unstoppable, a woman who balanced creativity with a real conscience. Together, Rob and Michele built a partnership that wasn't about image, it was about purpose. From the outside, looked unbreakable. Then December 14th, 2025 hit. Their story got frozen in a way nobody saw coming. Michele and Rob were found inside their Brentwood home, and the shock hit Hollywood, and way beyond, like a damn truck. Their son Nick got taken into custody in connection with what went down. The silence after that was heavy, deep, straight up unsettling. When CBS later re-aired Rob's interview, it landed completely different. Viewers didn't see a filmmaker or an icon anymore. They saw a dad who spent his whole life trying to hold his family together. Every sentence felt heavier now. What used to sound reflective now felt like a message dropped in real time. Rob's words didn't come off dramatic. They felt honest, raw, human. His story wasn't trying to stun anybody. It was trying to show something people hate facing, that behind perfect smiles, a lot of families are quietly struggling. That love without boundaries and silence without action can slowly turn into the exact thing that breaks what it's trying to protect. Rob didn't speak out for clout. He spoke because he couldn't let silence win anymore. Even if the understanding came too late, he wanted the truth out there, seen. And that truth stuck with everybody who watched long after the screen went black.